A man can be controlled through what he fears losing: status, comfort, approval, security. Once these attachments are identified, pressure becomes easy to apply. This is why the most dangerous men in history were not those who possessed the most, but those who required the least. The man who needs nothing cannot be threatened, bargained with, or bent. In ancient Japan, this was not an abstract idea. It was a principle forged into warriors who understood that dependence is weakness wearing a pleasant disguise. Miyamoto Musashi lived by this rule without compromise. He owned little, rejected luxury, and refused to anchor his identity to comfort or recognition. In his final teachings, the Dokudo, he warned against attachment to pleasure and reliance on external conditions. His discipline was not severe for appearance, but precise in purpose. To need nothing was to remain whole under any circumstance. Chapter 1. The Hidden Leash. In a modern city, a man named Sora lived a life that appeared stable and successful. His days were structured, his environment comfortable, and his future carefully planned. Yet beneath the surface, he felt constantly guarded. Every decision passed through calculation. Every risk felt heavier than it should. He was not constrained by force, but by what he felt he had to protect. Sora's mood shifted with circumstances. Praise brought ease, criticism brought unrest. Delays unsettled him, uncertainty drained him. Without realizing it, his inner state was rented to the world around him. The more he accumulated, the more fragile he became. Strength, he discovered, does not grow alongside dependency. Chapter 2. The Samurai's View. Bushido taught that attachment invites defeat. A warrior who fears loss hesitates. A warrior who depends on conditions fights with one hand bound. The samurai trained to remove these weaknesses not through denial, but through discipline. What could be taken away was never trusted. Musashi embodied this philosophy fully. He slept where he stood, ate simply, and avoided indulgence. Comfort dulled awareness. Excess weakened resolve. By stripping life to essentials, he preserved clarity. His freedom came not from abundance, but from independence of spirit. Chapter 3. When security becomes a cage, Sora first sensed the truth of this principle during a moment of disruption. Something he relied on was removed without warning. His reaction surprised him. Anxiety surged, judgment clouded, and his confidence faltered. The situation itself was manageable, but his response was not. He realized that his calm had been conditional. As long as things remained favorable, he felt composed. Once conditions shifted, his stability collapsed. What he mistook for strength was merely comfort uninterrupted. The realization unsettled him deeply. Chapter 4. Zen and Non-Attachment. Zen does not ask the practitioner to reject the world, but to stop clinging to it. Attachment creates expectation. Expectation creates fear. Fear disrupts presence. The warrior seeks none of these. Musashi wrote that one must not seek pleasure for its own sake. Pleasure creates dependency, and dependency creates vulnerability. The man who needs praise will bend for it. The man who needs ease will avoid hardship. The man who needs nothing stands firm, regardless of outcome. Chapter 5. The Discipline of Elimination. The warrior path rarely adds, it removes. Excess possessions, excess speech, excess desire. Sora began to understand this quietly. Instead of seeking improvement through accumulation, he practiced reduction. He removed habits that softened him. He questioned comforts that dulled awareness. He stopped filling silence. He accepted inconvenience without protest. He limited what he relied on emotionally. These changes were subtle, almost invisible, yet they reshaped his inner posture. He no longer leaned on the world to feel balanced. Chapter 6. Gammon and Endurance. Gammon teaches endurance without complaint. It is not passive suffering, but composed resistance to collapse. Through this discipline, discomfort loses its authority. It becomes an experience rather than a command. Sora practiced staying present when conditions were imperfect. He did not seek to fix or escape immediately. He observed the urge to soothe himself and allowed it to pass. Each moment of restraint strengthened him. He was not becoming harder, but steadier. Chapter 7. Identity without support. As dependence fell away, identity shifted. Sora noticed how much of his self-image had been built on external validation. achievement, recognition, stability. When these were removed or threatened, uncertainty followed. Musashi rejected identity anchored to reputation for this reason. Reputation creates fear of loss. Without it, action becomes pure. Sora began acting according to principle rather than outcome. He spoke less, but with intention. He moved without waiting for reassurance. Chapter 8. Systems over emotion. The warrior does not rely on mood, he relies on structure. Daily practices that reinforce independence. Silence. Physical discipline. Contemplation of impermanence. These systems replace emotional negotiation with consistency. Sora adopted a simple structure. He rose without indulgence. He faced discomfort deliberately. He limited unnecessary consumption. These acts were not performed for toughness, but for clarity. His inner state no longer depended on how the day unfolded. Chapter 9. The unbreakable position. Pressure returned, as it always does. But something had changed. When uncertainty appeared, Sora did not shrink. When loss threatened, he did not grasp. He felt tension, but it no longer dictated his actions. This was the position of the warrior, not immune to difficulty, but unreachable by it. Without dependency, pressure had nowhere to attach. Calm emerged naturally, not as comfort, but as stability. Chapter 10. Musashi's freedom. Musashi's life was severe, but it was free. He owed nothing to circumstances. His strength did not rise or fall with fortune. By needing little, he possessed everything that mattered. The man who needs nothing is not empty, he is complete. His calm is not fragile, his decisions are not compromised. He cannot be controlled through threat or temptation. In a world built on dependence, this discipline appears extreme. Yet it is the quiet source of unbreakable strength. To walk this path is to accept less and gain more. Fewer needs, fewer fears, fewer negotiations with reality. The warrior stands grounded, not because life is gentle, but because he no longer requires it to be.